I stood in a room that reeked of polished oak and quiet betrayal, my pulse pounding like a storm that had no place to go. My name is Luther Vale, 33 years old, and most days I grind coffee beans, steam milk, and wipe down tables at my little Spokane cafe, Ember's Hearth. I named it after my mom because she was warmth, steady, and glowing, the kind of person who kept you safe just by being near. But that day I wasn't in my cafe. I wasn't where I belonged. I was in a room filled with suits and lawyers, staring down the woman who had spent years chiseling me out of my father's life. Celeste. Her sapphire rings flashed like warning lights every time she moved her hands. Her smile was sharp, confident, the kind of smile that says, I've already won. She believed she owned everything, his name, his wealth, his legacy. I believed it too. I thought I'd leave that room with nothing but scars. But then the lawyer's voice cracked the silence, and everything I thought I knew turned to cinders. Before I dive in, subscribe for more powerful stories like this, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. The truth? This world wasn't mine. These glass towers, these polished chairs, this air thick with judgment, I didn't belong here. My place is where steam curls from espresso shots, where roasted beans cling to my skin. For 16 years, I stayed out of my father's empire, those sleek towers of glass and steel, those contracts and boardrooms. I loved him. God, I did. But Celeste made sure I was erased. I was 6 when life still felt whole. Our little house in Bellingham hummed with Mom's cedarwood candles and the soft crackle of her records. Dad, Gideon Vale, was a builder with calloused hands and a grin so bright it could chase away any storm. He'd toss me into the air, call me his little foreman, and we'd sketch houses on napkins while Mom danced barefoot in the kitchen. We weren't wealthy, not yet, but we were enough. Then one cold November night, everything shattered. I sat in the back seat, humming to Mom's favorite song, when a van roared through a stop sign. Metal screamed, the world spun, and fire licked my arm. I woke to antiseptic and silence. Dad's eyes were hollow when he whispered, "She didn't make it." I was 7. Grief became the language we never spoke. Dad drowned himself in blueprints, chasing projects like lifelines. I learned to hold my pain in silence. For a while we were two shadows leaning on each other, until Celeste arrived. I was 11 the first time I saw her. At a waterfront bistro, her velvet coat catching the light. She asked about my grades, my hobbies, my dreams. But her eyes weren't curious, they were calculating. 4 months later, she married my father, and our home transformed overnight. Mom's cedar candles were gone, her sketches replaced with cold steel sculptures. Celeste's voice echoed down the halls, correcting me, cutting me down. "Luther, you could at least try to belong." And when her children, Theo and Ivy, were born, I didn't just fade into the background, I disappeared. Dad's joy belonged to them now. Every giggle, every milestone, every photo on the mantle. I was 14, then 16, then 19, invisible in my own home. One day I grabbed a backpack, walked out, and never looked back. Spokane became my refuge. I traded chandeliers for an attic room above a bar. The air was thick with whiskey and burnt coffee grounds, but to me it smelled like freedom. I worked nights, studied business by day, and poured my heart into building Ember's Hearth. Wooden tables, fairy lights, and Mom's portrait framed by the register. It was small, but it was mine, my life, my fire. Dad called sometimes, his voice weighed down by regret. But Celeste's shadow always lingered behind him. I told myself I didn't need him anymore. I had carved out my own world. Then came the phone call. One March morning, as sunlight poured through my cafe windows, my phone buzzed. A voice I didn't know. "Mr. Vale, your father is in critical condition." Coffee grounds slipped from my hands, scattering like dirt on a coffin. I locked the cafe, caught the next train north, and walked into a hospital that smelled of antiseptic and regret. Celeste was waiting, blocking the doorway like she owned even the air inside. "What do you want, Luther?" she hissed. I pushed past her. Dad lay small and frail, wires snaking across his body, machines beeping a countdown. His eyes found mine. He forced a whisper. "Luther, I messed up, but I fixed it. You'll know soon." His hand, weak and trembling, gripped mine. I stayed there, holding on to the weight of all the years we lost. 6 days later, he was gone. The funeral blurred in drizzle and Celeste's staged sobs. At his grave, she leaned close, venom on her tongue. "Don't dream of a payout. This is mine now." I didn't argue, I just said goodbye, but his words haunted me. "I fixed it. You'll know soon." The answer came on Monday, The lawyer's office was all marble and silence. Celeste sat tall, smug in her silk dress, certain she had already won. I braced myself for the inevitable. But when the lawyer cleared his throat, the air shifted. Mr. Vale's estate will be divided according to his final addendum. Celeste leaned forward, hunger in her eyes. Then her face cracked. The lawyer slid a folder toward me. My father's handwriting filled the pages. A trust. A legacy. Not for Celeste. Not for her children. For me. Celeste's sapphire eyes burned with rage, but for once, her power meant nothing. My father, flawed and broken, had made sure his first son was not erased. And in that moment, I realized something. I didn't need his millions to prove my worth. I had already built something real. Ember's hearth was my legacy. But knowing that he saw me, truly saw me in the end, that was worth more than any fortune. So here I stand, not as the boy Celeste tried to erase, but as Luther Vale, the man who turned an ember into a flame. And if you've ever been cut out, overlooked, or treated like you don't belong, hear me. Your worth is not measured by the people who dismissed you. It's measured by the life you build, the fire you keep burning, even when no one else believes in it.